I'm started.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Oh, I'm really loud, huh? And you notice the podium is shifted over here, and I'm sure it's because they had something wonderful going on over there. But actually, since most of us sit over here anyway, that kind of worked out, didn't it? It's kind of funny. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin our meeting this evening by setting an intention or sharing our energy, offering prayer if that's comfortable for you. Creator of the universe, source of all life, we thank you for this opportunity to be together, to encourage and upbuild each other, to fellowship with each other in a place that is safe and secure and happy. And Mother, Father God, we're so grateful for this community, for this fellowship, and for all the blessings that we receive on a regular basis. Help our ears hear that message that is meant for our best and highest good, and see the beauty in the world that we are blessed with every single day. We thank you for all these things and offer this prayer with all the love in our heart, and so it is.
So it is.
So as I had promised earlier in the month, we are talking about new beginnings because it's springtime, it's May, the month of new beginnings. And so we've had a couple of discussions about that, and tonight I'm going to touch on a couple of things, and hopefully they'll resonate with you and you'll be able to use them in your life effectively so that you can begin anew in your journey when there's a need to. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is each day. Each day is a new beginning. Each day is a new opportunity to begin again. And I mention this because so often we start something and set an intention to do something new or begin a behavior that's different than a behavior that we have now, or begin a new mindset, begin a new plan. And what happens? The day goes by and we've done the same thing we did the day before. It's just our nature. We're kind of cyclic. You know, we do similar things over and over again. And it's comfortable for us. Even though if it's a behavior that may be not as beneficial for us as the behavior we'd like to begin, oftentimes it's still comfortable because it's a pattern. And it's just the same old thing that we know. It's what we know. So the new day gives us an opportunity to then assess what it was that stopped us from beginning yesterday. And a new opportunity to begin again, and a new opportunity to begin again, and a new opportunity to begin again. So that's a blessing from the Creator. So what kind of things can we begin anew that would be beneficial to us? Well, it depends on the individual. It depends on what's going on in your life and what's working for you and what's not. Quite often I run into people and they'll say to me, well, I'm a very religious person and I really don't know that I agree with, where you're coming from, what you think, your ideas are a little bit different than mine. And so I often will ask, how is that working for you? Is your faith, is your practice, is your religion working to benefit you as a human being? Is it making you happy? Are you developing relationships? Are you gaining tools and skills that are going to help you to be a healthy, whole, well-adjusted human being? Oftentimes people will say, I never really thought about that. Because we relate our religion to something that we just do out of rote. Well, my parents were that, and their parents were that, and that's why I'm that. But really, your whole life should be about participating in things that benefit you and help you grow, and then you are able to benefit others and help others grow, right? If it's not doing that, then that's something to assess and possibly look deeper into your faith to find those tools and or find another faith that resonates with you. Simple thing. Not so simple in practice, very simple in theory, yeah? So what are some things that we can do as individuals on a regular basis rather than something maybe so drastic as quitting our membership to a church? 1, a new attitude. How many of us in this room have at one time had a negative attitude? How many of us in this room often, on occasion, depending on situations, still have a negative attitude? I'm glad to see I'm not alone in that hot mess. So, what is something that we can do to change that? We can change our attitude. How do we do that? We have to work at it. And every day offers us the new opportunity to do that. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen in a snap. Some people can do that. They set their mind to something, and that's it. They're done. They've done it. They've moved on. But quite often, that's not the case. Most of us have to do it gradually and work at it. So a new attitude is certainly something that we can begin anew every single day. A new mindset. The way that we look at the world. The way that we look at ourselves. A new view. Because ultimately, in our understanding, we want to cultivate what? The mind of the observer, right? We don't want to react to things. Right? We want to respond to things. So if we're reacting to things, we're just not thinking it through. It's kind of like bouncing a ball off the wall, right? Ball hits wall, ball bounces back. And that's not a healthy attitude to have. As a thinking human being, a mindful person, we want to learn how to put things into the mind of the observer and change our perspective, because that's the purpose of doing that. We don't just want to cultivate the mind of the observer, we want to use that tool so that we can assess situations, relationships, challenges from a different perspective. Because quite often, and almost always, we look at things from the perspective of the center of the universe, which is what? Me. Not me, Suzanne, me, you. All of us are the center of the universe because we only see things from that perspective. We try to see things from another person's perspective because they share with us how they see things, but we can't put ourselves in somebody else's body and feel and see and hear and experience all of their experiences that have brought them up to that moment and why they're behaving the way that they are, but we can do that for us. We can change those things in us that are causing us to behave or act or respond in a particular way. So what happens when we practice intentional new beginnings? So this is, I am going to start new tomorrow. That's intentional, right? So what does happen when we do that? One, new opportunities open for us because we've changed our vibration. We've changed the way that we're looking at things, so we'll see opportunities that maybe were not apparent before. It doesn't mean the opportunities weren't there before, it just means that we didn't see them before. New behaviors. Well, ultimately, that's a goal for all of us, to develop behaviors that benefit us and help us to grow and become whole, mind, body, and spirit. That new vibration also attracts new people and new relationships into our life. Once that happens, that also draws other kinds of situations, challenges, and opportunities to us. Opportunities to grow, opportunities to meet new people, opportunities to learn new things, hear new stories, and that makes our lives richer. We are partners in creating that which serves us and our soul's journey fully. So I wanted to talk a little bit about an experience that I had, and I know that my daughter's not watching this, so that's unfortunate. But it's a story about my daughter and a lesson that she just taught me this week that I thought really tied into this very well. I was talking to her about a situation that she was in, and she was saying that it wasn't as beneficial for her as she thought it was going to be. And I said, really? So what are you going to do about that? And she said, oh, I'm already looking to change that situation. And I said, really? Just like that? In a very short amount of time. And she said, because I'm not going to be 10 years a slave. And I thought that that was so perfect. Oh boy, she learned from me those little catchphrases, huh? So I thought that, what a great way to describe what we do to ourselves sometimes. We kind of set ourselves into a pattern where we cannot begin. We tough it out. We believe that we can muscle through things and somehow they'll change if we force that to happen. It's like putting a square peg into a round hole. And some of us have spent a long time putting square pegs into round holes. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. But we keep trying And we think if we try hard enough, somehow that's going to just happen. And it doesn't. What you're doing is you're holding yourself hostage because of what? Fear. Fear of what you don't know might be on the other side of that behavior. And I love that. So you're holding yourself a slave to your own mind, to your own behaviors, to your own practices, and your own inability to begin again. Suffering to learn. I'm going to learn something from this. I know it. No, you're not. You know what you're going to learn? That you wasted 10 years suffering. That's what you're going to learn. That's kind of goofy. That's kind of goofy, guys, okay? Toughing out dangerous or unsatisfying situations. How many of us have known somebody that was in an abusive relationship and they tell you, oh, but I love them and love always wins. That's not love. You know, we fool ourselves sometimes because of the fear of beginning again. The unknown is so frightening, it's easier just to accept what I have. So the source of the universe, God, will fix all things. You need to simply wait. There's another trap that we set for ourselves so that we don't have to begin again. I'll just sit here and wait. I love God. God loves me. I have faith. Everything's going to work out. It doesn't work that way. You have to do the work. See, Spirit has already given you all the tools that you need to be successful and to be happy and to be whole. But if you want to use, you know, a butter spreader to do the work of a screwdriver, a butter knife, you can do that. You can do that. It's going to make your job that much harder, take that much longer. And here we have all these tools that we can use. And oftentimes we're just afraid to use them. So what do I do to facilitate and to commit to change once I decide to begin again? Set intentions. That's really important. Make sure that in your mind you know what it means to set an intention. Be clear about what it is that you want to change, what it is that you want to begin again, what it is that you don't want to do anymore, that you want to leave behind, that which you want to end. Because in order for there to be a beginning, there must be an ending. Yes. So what is it that we're trying to end? We need to have it clear in our mind what it is that we're trying to accomplish. This is very, very important. For example, in the case of a beginning after a new relationship or moving on after a terrible loss, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a pet. You know, these are horribly heart-rending situations. I'm not saying that your dog dies today and tomorrow you're supposed to move on and buy a new pet and just get over it. It doesn't work that way. You allow the process to happen. You feel the pain. You accept the grief. These are things that are natural and normal for us as human beings. But in order to begin again, we also have to know that death is a door, right? We know this. But we have to remember it. We can't let the loss cause us to be petrified in that moment and not be able to begin loving again, to begin looking again, to begin being open and allowing again. Because that's what is healthy and good for us. Find your new normal. That's really important because you're never going to feel the way that you felt before. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. I know I had a dog that ran away, my Lily. And actually my dog ran away at the same time that my dad passed. How horrible is that? My dad was in the hospital, he was getting ready to die, and my dog ran away. Probably because I wasn't home very much. But I was more upset about my dog running away in the moment than I was about my dad being sick. Because my dad had been in and out of the hospital all my life since I was a young person. So I'm thinking, oh, he's going to be all right, or everything's going to work out. But my dog running away, my dog was a miniature pinscher. She's a little tiny dog. In Florida, there's all kinds of predators that could eat her, including hawks and alligators and everything else. But, you know, it scared me, and I ran through the neighborhood. I went to the ASPCA. I went through the the Pinellas Animal Shelter every day for 2 months. I was just sick to my stomach about it. And I didn't know how to move on from that until I started thinking a little bit differently about it. I said, you know what? Wherever my dog is, that's where she's supposed to be. If someone picked her up, that means that they needed her more than I did, and I'm sure they're very good to her, because it couldn't be anything but good to her. She was the sweetest thing ever. So, I mean, changing my mind about that and remembering the things that I share with other people helped me to be able to heal myself of that loss. Now, I began again. Do I feel the same way about my dogs now that I felt about that dog? No. Because my dogs are completely different. Their personalities are different, their behavior is different, the environment in my home is different. So it's a completely different relationship. It is more satisfying than the relationship that I had before, believe it or not. But in that moment, there's no way anybody could have told me that, you see. I had to feel it for myself and then share it with you. So we're able to do that. We're able to move through those things. You have to be in a place where you allow for your new beginning to unfold. And that's really important, because it's not going to happen if you force it, but it'll happen if you use the tools that you have as metaphysical practitioners to grow beyond the moment. Make and stick to hard choices. Your mind is the most powerful thing about you. Your mind. And so if I sat, because my dog had ran away, and imagined all the horrible things that could happen to my dog, would I ever have been able to get over the pain of that loss? Of course not. Because I'd be feeding that fear, that anxiety, and that sadness. We need to change that, and instead, in my case, I thought about all the time that I spent with my dog. I thought about the person that might be with my dog now and how much joy they were bringing them. Change the perspective. And it's really not changing the reality, it's just changing the way that you're looking at that reality. If your mindset is the issue, the way you look at things may be holding you back from your intended new beginning. If you don't believe that you can do something, then you're not setting an intention towards it. If you're just going through the motions and you're not devoting yourself to the working out of that intention, then it's just words. And words have power, but behaviors have more. So we set an intention with our words and with our thoughts and with our mind, and then we follow it up with our behavior. And so how do we do that? Some of the ways that we do that is we don't spend time with somebody else who also just lost their dog and is going to talk to you about how sad they are because they lost their dog. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Why? Because it's only going to remind you of your loss instead of the possibility of a new beginning. Right? So maybe visiting the ASPCA or going to visit the animal shelter and looking at other dogs that are looking for homes might change the way that you look at that wound. And the possibility of helping another animal and making a home for another animal, that would be good. Spending time with people that will build you up and distract you from those negative thoughts and feed you positive things that are going to encourage you to think a different way. When we start the process of thinking differently, what happens next? We start feeling differently, right? First we think, and then we start to feel. And we're like, wow, it doesn't hurt as much as it hurt before. I don't hurt when I think about my dog anymore, at all. I know that's surprising, but it's true. So I think that that's very helpful in spending time with people and changing our perspective, and then participating in activities that will distract us from negative, repetitive thought. Remembering that things happen for us and not to us. Quite often when we are unable to move from one situation into a new situation, it's because we're in a state of victimhood, in a mindset of victimhood. I can't believe this is happening to me. I've heard this a lot, and I've done this as well. Did you ever notice that people will say to you sometimes, well, this bad thing happened, then this bad thing happened, now I'm waiting for the third bad thing to happen.
When it rains,
right?
it pours.
When it rains, it pours. And they always come in threes, right? No, they don't. They can come in tens if you're not careful. How do you like that?
Uh-oh.
That'll freak you out, right? Or they can come in zero. How would that be?
Yeah.
We're always waiting for the other foot to fall. So it scares us from making any kind of change or making any kind of motion in any direction because we just don't know what's going to happen. Oh, I'm waiting for the other foot to drop. No, there is no other foot to drop. It's all on you. That doesn't sound so great, and that's a lot of responsibility, saying that it's your fault. Your life is your fault. Ha ha ha. That's the way it is. Beginning a happy life if you don't have a happy life. How do you begin to have a happy life? You participate and practice having happy thoughts.
There you go.
If you're dwelling on things that make you sad, your losses, your pain, your suffering, your situation that happened 10 years ago, the horrible challenge that you overcame that you still are wounded because of, that's going to steal your joy, that's going to steal your happiness. And we have to, I'm not saying that you don't remember those things. We learn from situations, and we are who we are because of our experiences that we've had in our life. But we don't have to allow them to continue to bring us unhappiness, right? They brought us unhappiness, now we're moving on. Now we're going to be happy, and we can begin right this minute. Happy behaviors. If you're isolating yourself and sitting alone by yourself, or telling people that you can't engage in any kind of activities because you're too sad, you are going to continue to be sad. Because people want to encourage you. And you want to spend time with people that you know are going to build you up. People that are going to make you laugh. People that are going to celebrate life. Or engage in activities that will bring you joy and help you to see the blessings that are in your life on a regular basis. Happy friends. Surround yourself with people who are like-minded within the scope of your vibration. If your vibration is low, up the stakes a little bit. Look for people that make you feel better when you're with them, not people that make you feel worse when you're with them. And I'm not saying don't spend time with people that need assistance and encouragement. I think that's wonderful. But if you're going through a little something and you're working it out, then you can't really help someone else until you're in a good space. Right? You can't have homeless people come live with you if you're living in a box. You have to have someplace safe for them to be, right? You have to have something to be able to offer something. It's just a little common sense. A happy environment. If your environment is depressing and sad, that also will make you sad. So if you don't like dark, close spaces, and then you go home and your space is dark and close, it's time to make some changes. Make some changes that will make you feel good. Things that will make you feel light. Things that will make you feel happy. And engaging in that activity of making a space that makes you happy will make you happy. So it's a process.
Buy more wine.
Buy more wine. Well, it does say in the scriptures that wine makes the heart of mortal man rejoice. So in that case, unless you have a problem with addiction, wine could be helpful. Beginning a healthy life, being balanced and recognizing that we are mind, body, and spirit. This is the beginning. The way that we look at ourselves as human beings is really important in the beginning of change in our life. If we're only looking at ourselves as spiritual beings specifically, I have to tell you, even I have spent most of my life as what I would consider a deeply spiritual person, a spiritual seeker, a spiritual pursuer. And I have to say that it still annoys me when I go to the grocery store and the person that is bagging up my groceries is going on and on. You know, like, oh, it's such a blessing that you came today shopping here. Have a blessed day. You know, it's like, stop, please. You don't even know me. I mean, I know that people are trying to be nice sometimes, but sometimes it's a little overkill. So be balanced in your view of things. You know, don't be so saccharine that it makes people think, what is wrong with that person? You know, why can't they be, you know, normal, right? We want to be balanced. We want to be balanced people. So, knowing that, we want to be balanced in our mind. We also want to be studying things, learning things, pursuing activities and exercises in our mind that help us to be sharp, right? Help us to think clearly. What is one of those things that we do as a group on a regular basis that is essential to our belief? Meditation. So, if you're having a hard time being balanced, maybe it might be a good idea to spend a little bit more time meditating, or set aside time on a regular schedule to meditate. This is very important. Praying is very important as well. Being grateful for all the wonderful things that you have and looking at your life through a different lens. Not what you don't have, but what you do have. Make a plan and stick to it. If any of these things resonate with you, look at the blueprint of your life and make the adjustments that need to be made in order for you to be happy. Because guess what? That's the whole goal. If you can be happy, you win. It's not who has the most toys, it's not who has the most friends, it's not who has the most whatever, knowledge, power, nothing. If you're happy, that means you're close to Spirit. Spirit wants us to be happy. That's the whole point. If you fail, what should you do? Begin again. Begin again. Lots of opportunities. As long as you are above ground, you can begin again. Another suggestion, find support. All of us have a support system here in this room. You all should know each other. If you need each other, you should have each other's number. You should spend time with each other and encourage each other. And if in need, ask for help. Hey, you know what? I really need some help. I'm really down in the dumps. I could use a walk in the park. I get these phone calls all the time. All the time. Can you talk to me? Sometimes I don't even need to talk. I just need to listen, which makes it way easier for me. And most of the time, that's what people need, is someone just to hear their own voice so that they can recognize the patterns and behaviors that are going on in their head. Yeah? And I know that I've done that. Have you said to somebody, oh, I just can't believe this is happening to me. This is just so messed up. And then the next day, I'm like, crap, that was really something. I caught myself in that little weird cycle. I need to change my mind about that and not say that anymore. Change what I'm saying so that I can change the way that I'm feeling, right? So one of the things that I wanted to mention was, since this is springtime, we often think about the beautiful flowers that are in our gardens and that we see in the grocery store. We see it and they smell amazing. Have you smelled those flowers, those Easter flowers, Easter lilies and irises and, I don't know, what are the purple ones? Somebody know those purple? Hyacinths. Oh my gosh, they are so strong and so sweet and they smell so good, right? Is anybody from up north? So have you planted those in the ground, right? And so how often do you see them? How often do you see them? How often do they bloom? Right, they're annuals, right? So are they dead?
No.
Once they're gone? No. They go to sleep, right? And then they wake back up. One of the things about beginnings is this. There's no such thing, really, except for the ones that we personally set for ourselves. Because nothing ever begins and nothing really ever ends. Everything is in a cycle of continuousness. When we die, we don't end. We just change. And so what is a beginning? A beginning is really just a transition. A transition from one thing to the next thing. So there's nothing to be afraid of when we're trying to start something new, or if something new is brought into our life even if we weren't expecting it. And quite often that happens. If we wait long enough for things to change, if we're hoping and working, even if it's in the back of our mind for something else to happen, and it's not happening, and we're not making the physical effort to change, Spirit will change things for you. And there will be an end in the beginning, whether you like it or not. So wouldn't it be cool if we could control that, as opposed to Spirit saying, okay, I'm done with this, you need to move on from this situation, and this is how that's going to happen. Bam. Ouch. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. So ideally, we want to create transition that's smooth and healthy, right, in our lives. I love it. A very wise friend of mine said once, you can tell that you're in the right place spiritually when your life is very boring. Why? Because there's not all that stuff happening. There's not a lot of drama drawn to you. There's not a lot of negativity drawn to you. And there's not a lot of up and downs in your change, right? Spirit isn't going, yep, gotta get out of there, gotta put you here. Yep, gotta pull you out of there, put you over here. Because you're working with that flow. You're working with that energy. You're working with Spirit to create whatever it is that you want in your life that will make you happy and whole and balanced. And so I think it's really appropriate to think about beginnings in a different way. And I hope that this has helped you to think about it a little bit differently. And certainly not to be afraid of them. Not always does a beginning mean that whatever happened before didn't happen or it was negative. It just is a transition. And we all want to transition and we all want to grow. Because we certainly don't want to stay the way we were when we came into the world, right? I know I have a friend that says, I used to be 100 pounds. But yeah, I used to be 7 pounds, 7 ounces, but I'm not anymore. And I'm glad, right? I'm glad I grew up. I'm glad I changed. I'm glad that there was a new beginning for me, right? So we have to look at things that way. We expect those things in our life. We want those things in our life. So we want to embrace that, embrace those new beginnings. And I leave that with you with this blessing. And we are going to have a meditation. So everybody get comfy in their seats. If you can put your feet flat on the floor, if that's comfortable for you, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Hands loosely wherever you feel like they need to be, but most essentially, take a nice deep breath. Thank you, Peter. Take a couple of deep breaths. And with your exhale, allow any stress, discomfort, any congestion in your mind to just leave with your breath. If you're finding any pain in your body, use your breath. Concentrate on that space, concentrate on where that discomfort is, and breathe and release whatever is going on there. Deep, soothing, relaxing breaths. Feeling your body begin to relax. Relax your shoulders. Your arms become heavy. Your hands open. Deep breath. Relax your neck and your face. Your eyes. And your mind by concentrating only on your breath. Deep breath. And allow your hips to relax and your legs
to relax your feet. Feel heavy and flat, relaxing on the floor, connected to the earth. The deeper we breathe, the more relaxed we become. Once you're completely and totally relaxed, connected to your breath, I want you to imagine in your mind's eye, looking up into the sky in the dead of the night. As we view the sky, we see the billions of stars. Maybe we see a planet, the moon. And then as we view the sky, we move ourselves out into the cosmos and imagine ourselves surrounded by stars. We feel light. And buoyant in the universe. And if we could step outside of ourselves, we would notice that we fit into that pattern as a light. And as far as our consciousness can see, there is no end. There is no beginning. There is simple beingness. Acknowledging this brings us peace. It dispels all fear, all doubt, all distraction. We are in the perfect moment, in the perfect place. We are in the now. Being what we are. Light, love, peace. As we realize this space, we notice that the stars shine that much brighter. The glow of the moon is that much more beautiful. And a new emotion is revealed. We are happy in this space. There is no time. There is no pain. There is no past. There is no future. stay here just a minute longer. Open and receptive to any message that Spirit has for us personally. And then with a heart full of gratitude, we move our consciousness back into our body. And yet we still feel that light, that bright light that is us, tucked away deep inside of our physical self. And we bring our mind back to our breath. Breathing easily and comfortably, relaxing into the heaviness of our body. Take a deep breath in. And we become slightly more awake, slightly more aware of the space around us. And again, a deep cleansing, awakening breath. We feel revitalized and energized, comfortable, peaceful, balanced. Last awakening breath, we breathe in. And with gratitude, we open our eyes, wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes. If we need to stretch or get a drink of water, that's fine. We're going to stay in this energy. And I'm going to offer the opportunity for those who would like to work a healing chair to step into the back of the room. Behind a chair, those that are interested in having a healing can certainly come and sit in a chair. Please make sure that your phones are turned to vibrate or to silent, and try and keep your voices down during the healing portion of our meeting tonight. So this way you don't interrupt the experience of those who are sitting in the healing chairs. Thank you. Thank you, friends on Facebook. We'll see you soon.